Good day each and everyone. I am Davidian Castillo from Base Cream 2 Bravo. For today's video, I am discussing the parts and function of SLR camera. The first one is shutter speed. Provides two main function. One is to control exposure, the other is to control the way motion is portrayed in a photo. When shooting a moving subject, a slow shutter speed setting results in a blurry subject, emphasizing its motion. Shutter release button. Sometimes, the shutter release or shutter button is a push button found on many cameras used to record photographs. When pressed, the shutter of camera is released so that it often captures a picture and then closes, allowing an exposure time as determined by a shutter speed setting which may be automatic. Some cameras also utilize an electronic shutter as opposed to a mechanical shutter. Film advance lever. It is mechanism for moving film from one spool to another incrementally, one frame at a time. Advance may be annual process and may called winding, advance, wind on, and various other terms and may use, for example, lever, slider, or thumb wheel. Frame counter, an indicator in roll film cameras that shows the number of frames that have moved through the camera. Number of exposure taken. Neck strap eyelet, small ring that holds the strap to help carry the camera. Hang grip, it is protrusion on the right hand side of camera that is ergonomically shaped to be comfortable when held in the hand. This is almost always the primary contact point between the photographer and their camera, so it is sized to make it large enough to grip and hold the weight of the camera. Self-timer. It is device on a camera that gives a delay between pressing the shutter release and shutters firing. It is most commonly used to let the photographer to take a photo of themselves. Lens release button. It unlocks the lens mount and allows you to detect the lens. Although you can attach the lens in one step, as a safety measure, you can only detach it by pressing the lens release button. Hot show contact. This slot contains electronic contact that allow you to control certain compatible accessories such as flashes, some microphones, wireless triggers, viewfinders, and other gear. Film reburned crank. It enables the exposed film inside the camera to be moved back into its cartridge or canister before being taken out for processing. Film rewind knob. Mechanism used to rewind the film back into the canister. Film speed window. It lets your camera or light meter know what other settings are needed to get a good exposure. Aperture ring. Allows the photograph to control the aperture within the lens. These settings are marked on the lens using taps. On automatic cameras, the aperture can only be controlled through the camera body's f-stop setting. Distance scale. The lens numbers indicate the currently focus. So at one end of the scale, you'll find the infinity symbol. At the other end, you'll find the lens minimum focusing distance. Focusing ring. This is section of lens that rotates to allow the photograph to focus the image. On automatic cameras, this ring is moved by a small motor within the lens whenever you press the shutter release button halfway down. The depth of field or DOF. It is distance between the nearest and the furthest object that are in acceptable sharp focus in the image captured with the camera. Multiple exposure lever. It allows the photograph to supervise one subject or scene over another on the same frame or photograph. Exposure measurement button. It means the intensity of light and indicates the proper exposure, the combination of aperture, and the shutter speed. For film or image sensors specific sensitivity. Thank you, ma'am.